Hello everyone, welcome to Tutorial 1 of Design Project 3. In this video, we're going to learn how to create an interactive multimedia object that uses hotspots. This will be done using h5p.com, an online service that helps designers create, share, and reuse interactive content. So to begin, let's take a quick look at what we're actually going to be building. So I'm going to come over to what I'm calling Project 2, and I'm going to click there. And then you could see I have embedded in my website this interactive multimedia object. And I'm going to actually take it full screen so you can see well. And of course, you can see I have this background image, and you can, I'm sure, see that there are two hotspots that animate when I mouse over them. If I click this one on the left, I can see it talks about Fred Hayes, part of the backup crew for Apollo 11. That shows up in this animated text tooltip, which I can dismiss by clicking here. And then if I click on the second tooltip, what happens is I get more text about James Lovell, and this one actually includes a picture of Jim Lovell in it. So I can close that. So essentially, you are going to build something like this. So let me hit escape to get out of this. And in order to create something like this, you have to do some preparation. So let me show you what I did before I created this. So I have a project folder here on my desktop called Design Project 3. So let me go ahead and open that and show you what's in this folder. So right away, let me sort by kind. We can see there are two image files, and then I have a document I prepared called content. So the first image is a big one. This is the image I'm going to use for my background. And this is something I got from nasa.com. And the second picture is of Jim Lovell himself. I think I got this from Wikipedia. And now let's open up this content document. And if I zoom in on this a little bit, I have prepared everything I want. So I know what I'm going to call my project. I know if someone's using a screen reader, what I want the alternative text to be. And then I have for header for hotspot number 1, I know it's going to be called the name of the astronaut that the user's clicking on, in this case, Fred Hayes. And then I have some pre-written content that I've already put together that's going to be the body of that hotspot. And then I did the same thing for the second hotspot for Jim Lovell. So I just wanted to show you that I have all of that content ready, because that's going to be helpful as we work in H5P. Now that we know what we're going to build, we need to start by creating a free account at h5p.com. So navigate to h5p.com and click on the Sign Up for 30 Days Free Trial button. This will bring up a form, and go ahead and begin to fill it out. For the site name, you can just use your first and last name since you're not signing up for an organization. And for the URL, you can put in whatever you want. I use my last name, so that my URL is actually hoffman.h5p.com. And for the LMS dropdown, you can select I won't be using h5p.com in an LMS. And of course, at the end of the form, if you see a CAPTCHA prompt, you may need to prove that you're not a robot, so click the box and then finally submit the form. And in a minute or so, you'll receive an email. Follow the link in the email, set your password, and voila, you should be logged on and at the Create New Content prompt within h5p.com. Now that we're logged in, let's see how to actually use this service. So I'm going to assume that you see this view right here. If for some reason you don't see this view, just look for the button that says Add Content. Now, what I want to add is actually a hotspot. Now, if I scroll down through this long list here, these are all of the things we can create using H5P. So we can create dialogue cards, we can create accordions, we can create true-false questions, we can create memory games. The item we're looking for is actually right here, which is an image hotspot. And it says create an image with multiple information hotspots. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. And H5P is going to load up this interface, which is going to walk us through the process of constructing this interactive multimedia object. So the first thing it's going to ask us to do is put in a required title. And really, you can make this anything. This is just your reference. It's not going to be displayed anywhere, but we might as well make it meaningful. So what I'm going to do is pop this over to the side, and I've got my content all prepared. And so I'm going to copy my content title, and I'm going to go ahead and paste that in. And then the next thing that we have to do is add the background image. This is going to be the large image with hotspots on it. So I'm going to click Add, and then I'm going to navigate back to my desktop where I have Design Project 3. I'm going to go into that folder, and I know that the image I want is Apollo 11 crew. So I'm going to select that and click Open. And H5P is going to process that information. And it looks a little funny here. Don't let that confuse you. The next thing that you can do is add in some alternative text. And this happens if the browser can't load the image, text will be shown instead. So it's always a good idea to have a little bit of alternative text in there. So again, I'm going to switch over to my prepared document. I'm going to copy that text, and I'm just going to paste it in there. And now what we can do is begin to add some hotspots. And hotspots are required. I should point out that we can change the colors of the hotspots. By default, H5P uses this purple color, but you can really change that to any color you want. You can make it blue or red, whatever you think might stand out if you have a color photo. Mine happens to be black and white, so that's not such an issue. The first thing that it wants me to do is click on the thumbnail of this background image to place the actual hotspot. In other words, what's the position of this hotspot? And all I have to do is, you can see the cursor changes a little bit, is I'm going to click on the first astronaut in this picture, which I happen to know is Fred Hayes. So I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to switch back over because I'm going to need the header text for that hotspot. So I'm going to grab that text. And you can see here, yep, it's asking for a header. Now that's optional, but I think it's good style to have that header. So I'm just going to paste it in there. And now it's asking you, what kind of content do you want to have pop up when someone clicks on that hotspot? And there's actually 3 available options. You can pop up text, you can pop up a video, or you can pop up an image. And so I'm going to, for this demonstration purposes, just pop up some text. So I'm going to select that. H5P loads for a minute and says, okay, here's a text field. Tell me what text that you want to display when the user clicks that hotspot. So let me switch over, and I'm going to, again, I've already prepared this information. I'm going to grab this body text that I've already written, and I'm going to come to this text field, and notice we have some rich editing tools here. I'm going to paste in that information. I can style this however I want. I can select it. If it has some styling already and you don't want it, you can remove the formatting. And then I'm going to actually make this text a little bit larger by clicking here and making it size heading 3. I think that looks nice. Now, if I wanted to add more information related to this hotspot, I could click Add Item. I'm not going to do that for right now. What I want to do is actually save this and preview what we've gotten so far. And come up to the top and click Save. And you can see immediately H5P is showing us a preview of what we've created. And what I can do, it actually goes full screen. I've got this nice big button, hotspot button here, right on Fred Hayes' helmet. And if I click that, boom, I get this animated text slides in, and I can X out of it right here. To exit full screen mode, of course, I press Escape on my keyboard. And what I want to do is continue editing this. If you look up here in the left-hand corner, notice that it says View. But what I need to do right now is I don't want to view this content. I actually want to edit it. So I'm going to click the Edit button to go back in to this piece of content. And what I'm going to do is add an additional hotspot. So I could come down here and click Add Hotspot. And again, it's asking me, click on the place where we want the hotspot to show up. And so I'm going to click on Jim. and click right on his helmet to land that hotspot right there. And then again, it's asking me optionally, do I want a header that's going to appear with this hotspot? And I do. So I'm going to come over to my prepared text and I'm going to grab James's name and I'm going to paste that in for the header. And I also, in terms of pop-up content, I'm going to add some text and I'm going to select that text from my prepared document and I'm going to paste that in. Again, the rich text editor shows up. I'm going to remove any formatting and then size it up to size 3. And then for this one, I'm going to go one step further. I also want to add an additional piece of pop-up content. So I'm going to click there, and this time it's going to be an image. And H5P says, okay, you want to add an image, click the add button. And I already have my picture of Jim right here. So I'm going to select that and I'm going to click open and it's going to upload that picture. And what I'm going to do is you have to have some alternative text just in case the browser can't load the image. And so I am going to select just the first part of this information up here at the top that just says James Lovell was the command module pilot of Apollo 8, period. I can have hover text, but I don't need that right now. And so let's come back up to save. I'm going to save my content. And then just to preview it, I want to go into full screen mode and I click the plus sign. I've got my animated slide in that has text at the top and the image at the bottom. And of course, I can close that by clicking right here. And there you have it, folks. That's how you actually create this piece of interactive multimedia content using the H5P interface.